Salute to all the real ones out there. It's your boy Mike coming at you again with another video. If you guys like the content that I'm dropping, the direction that my channel was headed in, I need you to like, comment, subscribe, and share all those videos with people you think may benefit from them, alright? I'm trying to have like a wide array of different topics. You know, we're not on this channel, it's not just focused on just one thing. Of course, it's more dedicated to young men, and I just want to hit many different things to keep your brain thinking. So right now, today's topic is going to be about some things that I just simply understand. All right, so the topic will be I understand. It's not necessarily that I agree with this stuff. These are just things that I figure, no particular order of importance. Of course, it's not the overall list of things I understand, but it's just a few things that I feel like I could easily talk about. I'm coming off the cuff with it, freestyling this information, and I don't really feel the need to like discuss anything else. So let me just go ahead and jump straight into the topic. Like, so for example, drug dealers. A lot of people will look at a drug dealer and go, you know, why are you wasting your life? Or, oh, you're going to end up in jail or worse, in a casket. You're smart enough to do something else. Why would you throw your life away? Why is there drugs in our community? The thing that I just understand about drug dealers is, seriously, most of them literally don't even have a viable option to quickly make money to support their life. I mean, let's be honest. If you look at people who are drug dealers, more than likely they came from a background that was literally poor. There were no economic opportunities for them to really set themselves up, or they didn't have leadership from, let's say, a man in the house that could break down some of the rules, standards, and expectations that he should have out of life. So most of the time it's misguided young men who look outside on the street and see alpha males out there getting it how they live, and they see it as the only viable option on how to make money and sustain themselves. I mean, I know that's hard for other people who had a decent upbringing to understand, but just imagine you grow up in the inner city. Your mom is, let's say, always working. You're left to your own devices. You don't have anyone who's really picking you up, teaching you how to go fish, or showing you how to become a man. Then you go out on the street and you see a whole bunch of dudes out there with fresh cars, nice clothes, talking a different way, hitting you with stuff that you can relate to as far as the things that they discuss. And maybe they take you under the wing and they find you to be a cool young cat, and they give you an opportunity to make some quick money if you do a couple favors for them. Now you doing that, you over here making more money than you could ever imagine working a job, even though when you go to school, they're expecting you to study, get good grades, then go to college and do this and that, and then possibly you might get a job. But if you're a young black male especially, even in school, you feel out of place. None of the topics really pertain to you. They don't talk about the true history. It's basically limited down to you're nothing but a slave. Oftentimes, we're going to be the ones who are directly targeted in a school environment because there's no black teachers, there's no black lawyers. Like, we're not really seeing anything that we're worth becoming. When you go to school as a black person, you look through our eyes and you're more than likely going to have a female white teacher that's giving you dry ass topics and looking for any reason to basically hem you up should you not go with the program of sitting there like a stiff rock and just following everything she says, you know. But when you go out in the street, you see dudes that look like you, dress fly, they pull in women, they got quick money coming at a fast pace, and overall they're balling. So it makes more sense that a person would be enticed into that lifestyle. And I'm not talking like no other drug dealers exist, you know. I'm specifically just talking to young black males because, hey, I am a young black male. So don't watch this video and be like, oh, well, yeah, my white cousin was out there selling drugs. Like, dude, it doesn't. Of course, there's all different type of drug dealers, man. We could talk about Pablo Escobar and all this other bullshit, but I'm just talking specifically to y'all. I just understand drug dealers, like where they come from and what is their motivation behind doing something that can possibly land them in jail or put them underground. Next thing is media mind control. Uh, I remember when I was like jumping down the rabbit hole and starting to figure out how the world works, it kind of crossed my mind like, why would the elites manipulate the masses and control them unknowingly and go so far as to use subliminal messaging and predictive programming or all these different psychological warfare techniques on all of us. You know, I thought we could trust the government. I thought what the president said was real. I totally understand why they must control the masses, because they have an agenda for us that none of us would agree with if we weren't slowly but surely coaxed into the direction that they want us to be in. Like, for example, have you guys ever heard about the like a frog? Like, if you take boiling water and take a frog and try to throw him in there, of course he'll hop out, right? It's already boiling. But if you take a frog and put him in room temperature water and then turn on the heat, and that water is starting to cook with the frog in it, he will literally die inside of the water. And you would think, hey, it's hot, he should get out. But what it is he's not aware that it's getting hot to the point where it's going to kill him. And that's how it is pretty much when you think about media mind control. We're watching TV daily and being subconsciously influenced to think and behave a certain way. And over time, the elites actually implement everything that they want to, because we're none the wiser, not understanding that it's happening on a very slow incremental process. So you got to think, like, humans don't really like change like that. But if it's slowly but surely implemented, just a little dose every single day, that same human who would be diametrically opposed and very, very strongly against a particular topic or something that they have to accept in today's society, if you implement it very slow, they might even find themselves shrugging their shoulders or being indifferent to it, only because they've been affected up top on a long period of time, just consistently. The music industry, I totally understand it, bro. I totally understand, like, all these artists throwing up signs and a 666 and covering one eye and all this. I totally get it, because it's too easy. Like, let's say you are a billionaire and you have an agenda for the world. You want to, let's say, make the world less religious. You want to make people more willing to follow idols and more willing to worship celebrities instead of worshiping, let's say, a particular god, or worshiping what their family has taught them, or taking the values from their family and using that as a guideline on how to live their life. By controlling the music industry, it makes total sense that artists will be paid agents to implement the changes that the elites want to see. You see, so imagine you're a up and coming rapper or whatever, and you're looking for a deal. You got a little bit of a buzz. People think that you're hot, and all you actually need in order to be really successful in your craft is just the right team behind you that could package up your product, i.e. your music, and push it on a large scale. So this will be a record label coming in to get you to sign. Now you got money, now you have status, and you're getting opportunities to go around the world to tour and do your music. But what if one of the clauses within that contract is basically you need to promote this certain agenda? I mean, you sign your life away. What are you going to do now? Say no and then lose all the opportunities that you just were looking for when you were a hungry artist? No, you're going to go along with the program. So if you're a straight man and they have you dressed up in a dress or wearing a dress and then promoting it as if that's okay, that might go along with the LGBTQ agenda for the world. You're none the wiser, or maybe you are wise, but you understand that, hey, I can't expose this truth, or otherwise I'm not going to eat. That'll take away my ability to make money and be successful. So you go along with it, but it just pushes further the agenda in such a case. So I understand the music industry. Racism. I understand racism. First of all, let's just break it down the word racism. What's the root word for that? Race. So it's a race. For what? Well, Dr. Claude Anderson, who wrote the book Powernomics, talks about how race is an economic race for everyone to go against each other and try to accumulate the most resources, wealth, and power attainable. That's possible. So racism is going to be the idea that a certain race should be at the very top, and there are certain practices that can be enacted in order to keep that situation permanent. So hence, racism is very synonymous, like hand in hand with white superiority, white supremacy. And it has been like that ever since the idea of racism and capitalism existed. You know, it's everybody racing against each other trying to be the number one. So I understand why it exists. So on a small level, when people go, you know, let's say someone says, I hate black people or whatever. It's like, okay, that's prejudice. That's not necessarily racism. Racism is the ability to actually impact that black person's life against their will. You know what I'm saying? A racist actually has to have power. Clearly, he's in a race. So if he wants to, let's say, do something against black people and he has the power to do it, that's a person who can be racist. Like, you can't be racist if you're not able to affect another person's life with economic means. So I understand racism. The next one will be like cheaters, people who cheat. I'm not saying I agree with them. I just understand why people cheat. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. You in a relationship the whole entire time with the same person. The newness wears off. Now it's just like a more brother-sister vibe that's going on in the relationship. There's no seduction. There's no passion, really. You know, maybe you tried everything to get the spark back. Maybe your partner tried everything to get the spark back. And then out of nowhere, someone approaches that partner, whichever one, and gives them that spark. And it's new and it's fresh and it's energetic and it's upbeat. The butterflies return to the stomach. It makes sense why the person would cheat. I'm not saying I agree. I'm just saying I get why people cheat. It's not like it's just some malicious a person just in the corner just plotting. Yeah, I'm gonna wait till 17 years into our relationship and I'm gonna break this person's heart. Like, I don't think it's really malicious like that. I just think humans are just naturally more inclined to be polygamous. Like, a whole history shows that. But ever since like the last maybe 150 years, it's been kind of perpetuated through society that every person is supposed to just have one person their whole life and just get married and, you know, that's it. And it makes sense why they did that, and it's because that's how you build a society. You need stable homes where men and women are incentivized to stay together and raise children that will become adults and then further build on and improve the said society, you know? But the whole thing is the incentives are totally different now, and they're heavily weighed in one sex's favor. You can guess which one. So nowadays, it's like monogamy doesn't really serve the same purpose or give the same benefits to men as it did before. So it kind of, and our biologically, men are not programmed to just be with one woman. So I understand why certain people, let's say, instead of ending the relationship, they just cheat. They're trying to have their cake and eat it too. Killers. I understand, like, a lot of killers. If you sit back and just watch, let's say, a documentary about, you know, killers, sometimes it kind of makes sense why they did what they did. Now, I don't agree, but I understand why someone would kill someone else. Seriously, especially given a reasonable explanation. You break in my house, you try to hurt my wife, I kill you. Now I'm sitting here in jail. Is it really so far-fetched to understand that you might do the same thing if you put yourself in a situation? Suppression of truth. I totally understand why truth is suppressed, why the real history of the world is hidden under the Vatican. You know, I totally understand why even the media plays with it, where they twist stories and twist things around. It's because truth will set people free. And if you're a part of the elite and you have like a agenda for the world that isn't synonymous with what, let's say, the creator's plan for the world is, which is basically eternal love, all of us just showing love to each other and appreciating each other and working in harmony to basically create heaven on earth. If you are not with that program, then of course it makes sense that you're going to hide up the truth, and at best probably scramble it around so that it seems like something totally different than what it should be. So that's just some things that I understand. Maybe you guys have some other things you could add on to. But with that being said, like, comment, subscribe, holla back.